Here I am in Florence, that's me on the horse. I knew I really wanted to see the Museum of Innocents, which used to be an orphanage founded in 1419 and built by Brunelleschi. Here I am trying to speak Italian.
Museo degli Innocenti.
They used to have a wheel in the square where any woman could abandon a child anonymously, and the monks would hear the baby crying and spin the wheel and bring it inside. Eventually, nuns also began working there, and here are some of the original patrons of the orphanage. Some children were abandoned temporarily while the parents dealt with hardships with the intention of picking them up again at some point, so almost all the children were given trinkets to help identify them, just like Annie, and some came with letters from their parents. There was an awesome interactive digital archive of stories to give you some insight into the children's lives. They also had all these little trinkets, buttons, medallions, crosses, anything that would be unique to that family, to that child, so the parents could figure out which child was definitely theirs when they picked them up again. And in later centuries, women who weren't nuns could get jobs there as nurses or cooks, and this was often a path women would take to be closer to their children. Like some single mums would get a job in the orphanage and get the best of both worlds, or like the best that it could really be for them back then. So it served the community in lots of ways. This was definitely the most fascinating and relaxing thing I did in Florence. The building itself wasn't that fancy, but it was really peaceful, especially as I got there as soon as it opened. The museum is quite new, so it's not actually too popular yet. I don't know the name of this cathedral. I didn't go inside, but I'm pretty sure that it's famous and the queue is long for a good reason. There's a lot of nice little surprises in Florence. I stopped at this gelato place that was completely empty, but turned out to have the best gelato ever. If you see any places with sealed metal containers you can't even see into, that is awesome gelato, and you need to try it. I don't know what this building is. I have no idea where I found this footage. Maybe it was taken by somebody else who stole my camera. I don't know, but they seem to really love this naked guy. They love him. It must have been me. This is a sandwich shop that I wanted to go to, but I balked when I saw this queue. Like, it's on both sides of the street. If I wanted to wait in line for a sandwich, I would have jumped the counter at work and stayed in Australia. So, if you can't tell, I was in a bad mood this day. I'd spread myself thin and scheduled myself tight. I didn't feel like queuing for anything. I had wanted to see the Leonardo da Vinci Museum, but then I balked, and instead I just waded through crowds, which is the same thing as queuing, except you have less personal space. The Loggia de Lanzi was still there when I got there. The statues did not move, which was pretty disappointing. I do think it's really cool that the Renaissance people were super obsessed with ancient Roman deities. Like, I just think of them as Marvel characters, but less cool. Like, they can't deliver zingers, they can't pick up Thor's hammer.
Phoebe thought to herself, let's go to Florence for 5 hours. Let's go to the Ponte Vecchio.
Yeah, I could have made some better choices, I guess. It was very crowded on that bridge. Rick Steves led me to believe that there were charming little market stalls on the Ponte Vecchio, but every single shop front looked like the scene in Deathly Hallows, where the Golden Trio nearly topped themselves getting crushed by goblets. Felt like I should have been wearing linen pants and a pacemaker. As you can tell, I didn't really get to see the best of what Florence has to offer. I was really stressed I would miss my train to Rome at 3 p.m, so I actually spent a lot of time just waiting around the train station when I could have been seeing things. Crowds are like way more exhausting when you're traveling alone and when you have no one to whinge to about all the little things that may or may not go wrong, may not be what you expected, and it all piles up in your head and makes it really hard to have a good time. Next time I go to Florence, I'm going to spend 3 days and I'm going to bring a friend.